Welcome to another Tea and Tight special. Our guest today is one of the hottest, fastest rising young talents in the UK, a two-time IPW Z Force Champion, a UKPW Inter-regional champion. He was the finalist in the Rumble Wrestling Promotions Mount Mason Lightweight Championship Tournament. He has competed for FNW, Southside Wrestling Entertainment, WrestleGate. He competed in the incredible opening match of the debut of Wrestle Carnival alongside Callum Newman, Danny Black, Just Joe Lando. Our guest today is Maverick Mayhew. How are we doing, Maverick?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, excellent.
Fantastic.
Looking forward to talking to you today.
I'm
and
looking
of course,
forward to it.
we are Tea and Tights, a Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on bodyslam.net. I am your host, the Great British Taku, Mr. Andrew Moore, Andy to most, and my co-host, as always, is the Pro Wrestling T-shirt champion of the world, Big Daddy Dan, Daniel Allen. How are you?
I'm having a great evening. I'm very excited to have Maverick Mayhew here because, as you may have heard me say on previous podcasts, he was a member of the match that is my favourite match of this year so far.
No way.
Yes,
No way.
the opening match at Wrestle Carnival, which I thought was just absolutely phenomenal.
What
Really
a match.
I'm sure we'll get onto that in a minute. But first question I've got for you. What are you watching at the moment? What are you tuning into? What companies are you following?
To be honest, there was a period sort of during lockdown where I sort of stopped liking wrestling that much. So I sort of steered clear of it and didn't really, because up until lockdown, from the time I was about 14 till now I'm 21, wrestling had sort of absorbed my life and had been a big part of it. And obviously I've been very grateful and very fortunate to be a part of a lot of great things, but it did sort of diminish my liking for wrestling. But recently, I have been getting back into it, whether it's been watching old World of Sport tapes or I've been watching Progress on the WWE Network, or just going back and watching my own matches, to be honest, because I'm a huge mark for myself and also my biggest critic. But I feel like going back and watching my old stuff sort of gave me that sort of kick up the bum that I needed to get back into wrestling. But I've also been checking out the Powered 4 TV app because it's on my iPad as well. And I know Triumph Pro Wrestling is going to be on there, who I'm very, very good affiliates with. They run fantastic shows in Essex. And yeah, I've just been scrolling through there, seeing the free matches that come up at the top header. I saw one pop up, which I think I'm going to watch after this. AJ Styles, Douglas Williams, and Rampage Brown, which just jumped out at me. So yeah, I think a bit of everything at the minute.
Oh, that's one of the old 1PW shows, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But yeah, it literally just jumped out into the screen at me. I was like, here we go. That'd be good.
Excellent.
Little plug there as well for Powered 4 TV. You're welcome.
Yes, as you
shout
mentioned,
out Powered 4.
Lockdown has been difficult on a lot of people, and it did kill a lot of people's sparks at the time, and their love, and due to everything else that was happening at the time. But what was that first match back? Was it a Wrestle Carnival one, or had you pre?
God, you're testing my memory now. Actually, it was a Rumble show. My first match back was against Aaron Warnes at Rumble Wrestling. I can't remember where it was, but I remember that was the match, and that was great fun.
I think you'll find it was in Sittingbourne.
That sounds right. I'll take your word for it.
I think you'll find that I was sat front row for it.
You were. I do remember heavy praises from the from the Tea and Tight podcast. Yeah, that was great fun. I remember that.
And well, talk about Rumble with him.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rumble, you've just had an amazing 8-round match at Rumble Wrestling with Nino Bryant for the Mel Mason Lightweight Championship. What was it like having a British rounds match?
it's great. It's really, really, really great as a new generation wrestler to sort of step back into where we came from, and sort of it's a style that I've like not grown up with, but like my grandparents would show me videos of World of Sport and be like, this is what I used to watch back in the day, and to sort of slip back into that tradition and be a part of what came before us was really humbling, but also just a fantastic way to switch it up. To have so many callbacks to World of Sport, like having the national anthem before our match, which is something they do before the lightweight championship matches, to the standing counts, to just so many things that were like, standard things that we've sort of lost over time. But it was great to sort of delve into that style of wrestling, because it's something that I'd love to do more often if the opportunity came around. But yeah, it was fantastic. Absolutely loved it.
Well, I was sat with the judges for that match. The judges were three guys that had wrestled on World of Sport. You had Tony Scarlo, Bill Beanie, and I was chatting a lot with Carl Hines, who was a regular for Dale Martin throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And he was singing your praises all the way through the match. He was very impressed with the way that particularly the way you put on a full Nelson.
Good.
Particularly mentioned that. He said that you put it on properly and it was put in strong. So there you go. A random compliment there.
For Nino.
Poor Nino.
That match was refereed by Steve Gray.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be, but unfortunately, due to health issues, it was refereed by Chris Hatch, who, again, fantastic referee. But yeah, it would have been nice to have Steve Gray there, but unfortunately, he couldn't be in attendance.
Chris Hatch is somebody that we've interviewed recently who was also talking about you and saying how well you've been wrestling.
Bless him. I've known Chris Hatch for bloody ages, probably since I started, I think, because he would have been at the IPW school.
God. He's been around for a while. I think 18 years he's been refereeing now.
That's almost as old as me.
Don't. I've got children older than you. Talking about... Go on.
I was about to say, I'm so shocked because I have heard your name around the scene for quite some time. And when you just said that you're actually still only 21, I'm like, that's just not fair.
Yeah, that's usually the reaction, I think. I've sort of always been like the baby of the locker room where everyone's like, oh, God, how are you only this old? But I like slipping in random things, like Chris Hatch has been refereeing for 18 years. And I'm like, that's nearly as old as me. It just gives me like, because I'm getting old now, so it sort of refreshes me that people are older than me.
You're feeling it in your knees?
I'm feeling it in my everywhere.
So, talking about youth, who do you see amongst the new crop of young wrestlers coming through? Who do you think we should be watching out for who's going to be a big, big name in the future?
Well, who else could I say?
Apart from yourself.
Well, yeah, obviously. But who else could I say?
I'm going to say you can't say just Orlando either, actually. I think that's unfair.
God. Just Orlando is one of my top answers.
Yeah.
Just Orlando. Who else can I say? Callum Newman. Absolutely phenomenal. Danny Black making waves. I remember training with Danny Black when he first started out, and to see the progression from where he was to where he is now, it's mental. And he's going to be taking over wrestling very soon. Who else? The Rebellion, a tag team of Aiden James and Jack Torino. They've been great for ages. But me and Callum got the opportunity to wrestle them at RCWA not too long ago, and it was great fun. And I don't think I've ever wrestled them as a tag team before that, to my knowledge. Well, maybe once, but it was like a 3-corner tag. But they're just they get tag team wrestling, and it's refreshing to see. Yeah, just so many people, which is great. And the fact that I'm finding it hard to think of more people to say is good because there's so many.
Yeah, there's just so many incredible young talents out there right now. And you just mentioned three right at the beginning, which you said Just Joe Lando, Callum Newman, and Danny Black, who you did face in that incredible Wrestle Carnival Fatal 4-Way. You opened the show, the debut show. Big Daddy down up there said it was his favorite match of the year so far.
Definitely.
Love it.
We know you are close friends with Just Joe from when we spoke to him. What was it like, that match then? I mean, how did it come together? Did you talk about it behind scene, or do you just literally go at it?
I mean, you know, obviously we're all very, very close friends, and you know, we always, I think any wrestlers that are friends always talk about having a match with each other. But when it's a group of us and, you know, we're talking about having a big schmoz, basically, it's just when it finally comes together and happens on the show, it's something very special for us, you know, because it's not something that really happens often for us to all be in the same match. Although recently we've all been on like the same shows, which has been amazing that I get to like spend so much time with my mates. But to actually wrestle them, and you know, it just brings so much, like it brings us closer together to be able to get in and just batter each other for a while. It's just really, really good fun. And honestly, I'd do that match every day of the week, twice on Sundays.
Yes, please.
Indeed.
I've gone back and watched that. I've shown that match to my son through the Wrestle Carnival Patreon page that I'm a proud supporter of. It's just a great, great match, and it shows what British wrestling is able to do at the moment. So,
Now, you talked about round matches. Now, one of the things that Wrestle Carnival have been able to do are pure rules matches, the ROH pure rules. What would be your thoughts about getting in one of those?
Absolutely. I've been a big believer when I started wrestling that, you know, I'd do everything at least once, and I'd try it, I'd attempt it, and even if, you know, I didn't enjoy it, it'd be something that I could say I'd done. But yeah, I've never been in a pure rules match, but it's something that I would absolutely love to do.
It's just been announced today that Wrestle Carnival have had to change this weekend's show because Francesco Akira has been injured.
I did see that.
Yeah, it's going to be Chris Ridgway versus Luke Jacobs, which
that'll still be good.
Should still be a very good match.
Yeah, very heavy hitting. Which that's a shame. I do like. I love Akira very dearly. I met him in Italy when I went to Rising Sun, and he's a great boy. He's another one who I've sort of seen develop over time, and to see the stuff he's doing now is mental. To see how well he's doing in Japan, and now coming back into Europe, and you know, obviously he's been stunted by an injury, but still his name's out there, and it's insane. I'm very, very proud of him.
His match with Ian Skinner on ICW this week was just brilliant. Well worth a watch on the network.
Was his Francisco Akira versus Robbie X. That match was incredible as well.
Yes.
But you have been in the ring in the UK with him at WrestleGate, tag teaming alongside one of my favorite young competitors, Connor Mills, as part of M&M. What was that match like then?
That was great. I remember that. It was Team White Wolf, M&M, and Team Rising Sun. It was great fun. I remember just everyone being up for everything and just, you know, having a good time. And that's what it's all about, really.
Maybe don't know, Team White Wolf is the NXT UK A-Kid and the superb Carlos
Romo.
Yes. So you've been in a tag team with Connor Mills, M&M. You've been in a tag team with Just Joe Lando, Addicted to Adrenaline. You've been in a tag team with Callum Newman. That was the Mavericks of Pace.
Yes.
And then as the British Mavericks alongside Dylan D'Angelo.
Yes. I'd like to point out, we are the first ever and longest reigning Full House Wrestling tag team champions. And I'm pretty sure it's been well over 3,000 days now. So
it's listed as
flex in there.
It's listed as 1,367 days. I thought, no, that can't be right. But there you go. No. It is.
It's something along those lines. I can't. I think it's like 3 years or something. I can't remember. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
But so yeah, something like that.
You're gonna get knocked off some Christmas card lists today.
Oh no! I know what's coming.
Tag team partner.
Oh. Oh my God. I don't even know where to start. See, I love Dylan. All our matches that we had, mainly at Full House, were great fun. I think he said he was retired, but then he came back and then I think he retired again. I don't know what he's doing. But we need to get back together and defend those Full House Wrestling Tag Team Championships, because I think we've only defended them once. But that aside, he's great and I love tagging with him. Just Orlando, we haven't really tagged as much as I'd like, but it was fun. I remember I was interim FCW Tag Team Champions with him, and that was fun. And we only had one belt for legal reasons. And that was fun. I'd love to tag more with him. Callum Newman, we were RCWA Tag Team Champions until recently. And, I think we were just sort of getting into our stride as a tag team. And we've had a setback, losing the Tag Team Championships, but hopefully we'll get back on track. And,
okay, as they're all current tag teams, we won't make you pick one. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think I'd get into too many fights with everyone about it. But Eminem, was a huge part of my career, and I don't think I would have got to, as many places as I did without Mills. We've traveled together to many different countries. We've wrestled in Progress together. We wrestled at Wembley Arena together. We built the Dome as a tag team. We built that venue. We built those shows. We had that match at the Dome, me versus Mills. Just so much of my career comes down to Connor Mills. I think sort of every sort of major point in my career, you can sort of draw a line back to either Eminem or the match with Mills, or just so many different things. And I really, really, really enjoyed tagging with Mills. Obviously, he's got Destination Everywhere now, and obviously he's focusing on that. But regardless of that, great wrestler, great friend, great tag team partner, great opponent, just great. And you know what? I can't pick a favorite. No. I've had so many more tag team partners, whether it be temporary or mainstay thing, but it's just I'm a tag team rude word. I can't pick. I would love to give you an answer, but through just respect out of all of the tag teams I've had, I don't think I can pick one.
Well, I've got a question about tag teams. I'm looking at the top of your Facebook page at the moment, and it has an advert for Hope Wrestling.
Oh Christ, that's old.
That's really an old one, is it?
That's really
Which
old.
was Eminem versus Aussie Open.
What happened?
That was in February, so I'm guessing that was one that got cut out.
I remember that. So what happened with that was that match didn't actually happen. Me and Mills had a double. We were doing IPW in Milton Keynes, and then we were driving up with Kip Sabian and Cara Noir, and we'd go from Milton Keynes to I think Leicester for Hope.
It was,
and it was going to be Cara and Kip and whoever they were wrestling, and then me and Mills and Aussie Open. But for whatever reason, we were running late, probably traffic, probably left too late. But we get to the venue, and Aussie Open already are in the ring having a match with two completely different people. And we're like, that's meant to be me and Mills. So we get backstage and we're like, what's happening? And they're like, we'll just do a tag Eminem versus Kip and Cara. So I think we might have planned it in the car briefly, but then we had like a couple minutes to plan that match, and then we just went out and did that. And that was very fun, but also very stressful because you when you're announced for a match against someone, you sort of bring ideas to the table, but having it completely like scrapped and thrown away, and then plan for something else is an experience. But it was good fun. Obviously after that we went on to wrestle Aussie Open at Progress a few times, which I'm glad happened because they're great.
I love the casual name drop of two of the biggest British wrestling stars out there at the moment in Cara Noir and Kip Sabian. Because did you must have faced against Kip in the IPW Z Force?
Yeah. I won it off him the first time I won it, and then I think that weekend I wrestled him at RCWA the day before, and then I went and wrestled him at the casino rooms and took the belt off him. But I think we only wrestled those two times, maybe one more, but my memory is rotten. I enjoyed wrestling Kip. Always good fun.
Now we've talked about some of the future. Let's bring it back to the past, because one of the things you said is you'd like to watch some old WOS. So we'll start with who would you put on your British Mount Rushmore, and then we'll move on to who you really like to look at and watch.
It's not Mount Rushmore, it's Mount
Rushden.
Mount Rushden.
Apologies,
Rushden.
Yes.
Oh, I love Rushden. So as I said before we started recording, I'm super glad that that Dan gave me a heads up on this, because I had to do a lot of thinking. But I've got four, and I think they're more personal ones, but I think they would stand alone on any Mount Rushden. So number one, big one for me, but also a big one for British wrestling, is Will Ospreay. Purely because of what he did for me in the early stages of my career, and the inspiration I based off him, and obviously the impact that he's made for British wrestling. He's really someone that's put it on the map, and he's the best wrestler in the world. So simple.
I saw him on Saturday. He was fantastic.
There we go. See, never fails to amaze. Number two, I've put Les Kellet. Phenomenal World of Sport wrestler. Very, very funny. He's one that I can sort of, no matter what mood I'm in, I can chuck on a Les Kellet match and instantly be entertained.
Ian Skinner picked him as well.
Good. He's great. I think he's sort of very underrated in my eyes. Number three, I have Doug Williams. Purely because I remember, I probably would have been about 12 maybe, and I was watching Impact Wrestling, and he was one of the first British wrestlers I remember seeing. Obviously wore it loud, wore it proud. I just remember seeing him and having that connection, because obviously it's all American wrestling. Very rarely do you sort of get the acknowledgement, especially before the boom of like British wrestlers, and I feel like he's one that sort of stuck out to me, especially at that time. Number 4, I have Saber Jr., another pioneer of British wrestling and British wrestling style, and he's just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal wrestler, and that's why I think he belongs on my Mount Rushden.
That's 4 incredible performers. And yeah, I can see what you mean about Douglas Williams, because myself and Dan, we grew up watching people like British Bulldog, and they represented the UK at a time when nobody else was, and you did get that instant connection to support them.
Yeah, definitely.
And I loved his time in TNA with Magnus and Rob Terry.
Definitely.
They were great.
They were great.
I say great.
Rob
Terry. Rob Terry had his place. He was a good enforcer.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah. Aldous was a star, is a star now, and then he was certainly, you could see the base there, but working with so closely with someone like Doug, I think, is a big part of the reason Aldous has gone on to what he's achieved.
Great theme song as well. Great theme song.
Yes. What's your favourite theme tune?
Oh gosh, I wish you gave me time to think about this.
I've literally just come up with that on the top of my head. That's not a regular question.
Oh my gosh. You know, and I'm purely because I listened to it last night, but Chris Hero's like custom music, the Chris is awesome. That banger, certified banger. Absolutely fantastic song that is. That's top of my playlist.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, that's
You think Progress.
Yeah, that's right up there for me.
You know, I had a piece of wrestling music play at my wedding, and I don't think I've actually mentioned this before on the podcast.
No way. Which song was it?
Glorious, the
Good.
Classic.
Good.
Yeah. If you could walk out to any song, what's your pick?
Any song ever?
Yeah.
God. Well, see, it changes. To be fair, it changes wherever I go. But I would love to, and I'm going to steal it from Ashley Dunn, but I would love to come out to Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up, just because it's funny, but low key, it's a bop. Like, if I'm listening to it out of my own free will, and it's not like a weird, like, Rick roll, banger, I'll take it every day.
Well, you know what your trick there is? You use the mashup with Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah, good. Well, that's my entrance sorted for whenever I wrestle next. I'll write that down somewhere on the iPad. Side note, I keep Rick rolling my friends, and honestly, it's the highlight of my day.
My son keeps doing it to me.
I was doing it to the RCWA group chat, and honestly, it's insane how many people like constantly fall for it. Like they sent in the footage from the show. It was like a Google Drive, so it wasn't working for some reason. I was like, oh well, if anybody needs it, I've also got a YouTube link, Rick Astley, and then they click it and be like, kick this guy out of the chat. Oh, honestly, I did it multiple times, and people just kept falling for it. And it's the highlight of my day when I'm stuck at work.
Yeah, I don't click any link that anybody sends me.
I try to avoid it now, just in case.
Yeah, some of my friends could be cruel.
Yes, we can.
Now we're talking about friends again. So, have you been and played in Just Joe Lando's ring?
Of course I have. I think everybody in their nan's played in Just Joe Lando's ring at this point. It's the coolest setup because it'll be like wrestling ring, big trampoline, and then you'll have like the crash test dummy and the mattresses that you can just jump on, and they're a lot nicer than they look. But it's just the coolest playground in the world, and I am beyond envious of him and Callum, because his ring is sick as well.
I bumped into Callum Newman's mum at one of the shows recently.
What a
lovely
sweetheart.
Lady. Yes.
What a sweetheart.
And she was saying about, we've just had, and it was Will Ospreay and two other people. Oh, they've just been overplaying in the ring.
I bet that ring has had some names in it, to be fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just absolute mind blowing. Now, you
Yeah.
said you started at the young age of 14.
Yeah.
So where did you make that 14-year-old debut?
I think I started training when I was 14. Had my first match when I was 15, a few months after, but that was at the IPW UK school in Swanley, which I was very fortunate to find, because I was I remember struggling to find a school, but I was very desperate to. But they all had age limits for obvious reasons. But luckily they took me in just before they changed it to 16, and I was able to train with them.
Where was that? Sorry,
IPW in Swanley.
Where's Swanley?
I couldn't tell you. I had to go from Woolwich to Sidcup, and then get on the 233 to Sidcup. No, to Sidcup to Swanley.
Oh.
So it's on the 233 bus route near the big Asda, the White Oak Leisure Centre, just down the road.
I never regretted it.
Yeah.
Do you remember who you actually first faced in a ring?
I can, but I think he's been cancelled, so I don't think I can say who it is.
No, we'll avoid that one.
We'll bleep that.
Let us know some of the guys, because the IPW lot, there have been some really big names come out of there. So the ones that you can remember that can be named, quite happily, let us know. Who you all were training with back at that point.
I was training with Danny Duggan. He was one of the head trainers there. Kieran Donnelly. He had a big part in training me. Jonathan Windsor, who I don't think wrestles anymore, but he was great. I'll tread carefully here. Danny Black was there for I can't remember when he started, but I remember we were there at the same time. I thought he was wicked. But yeah, and obviously IPW was great because they had, good links with international talent. So every now and then you'd get a cool seminar. And I remember training with the likes of Chris Hero, training with the likes of Red Dragon, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, War Machine, or the Viking Raiders, to name but a few. But there was great opportunities to train with great imports and exports, and it was a good environment to train in for the most part, and you can just learn so much. And obviously, where they had so many people come in, like Tommaso Ciampa, who hadn't obviously got to NXT at that point, but still was on his way there. You just learn so much along the way that you could pick from like little bits and be like, oh well, I've learned this from this person, but I've also learned this from here, and I've learned this from here, and then build your own sort of repertoire and build yourself up off the knowledge of so many great wrestling minds. It was great.
Awesome. So one of the questions that I often ask is about bad rings, but you've been to so many international shows. As opposed to asking about the worst rings you've wrestled in, what's the best rings you've wrestled in?
Oh, gosh. I think a personal favourite would always be there's a guy called Farron who runs Full House Wrestling, and he used to own the ring that Progress used to use way back in the day. I can't remember where else he used his ring before, but like everywhere he used it at a time. And it was great because I had like 2 layers of padding, there was a spring in the middle, and the ropes are usually quite good, although me and Mills broke them once. But that was a great ring. I broke probably too many rings in my time, but that's a good one. That's definitely up there with my favourites, I think.
Awesome.
Keeping with rings, this is something that I've actually wanted to ask someone for a little while now.
Mm.
In the UK, obviously, you have a variety of sizes in rings from different promotions. What is it like actually trying to transition from those? Does it not throw off your timing in the way you would do certain things in certain?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of when I first started, I think Farron's is a 16-foot ring, and you can sort of map it out in your head. So it's like 3 steps and I'm in the middle, or 3 steps and I'm turning. So you can map it out like that. But when I think the first time I wrestled in like a 20-foot ring would have been when I went to Rising Sun in Italy, because they've got a huge ring and it's like kind of like a vinyl texture on the canvas. But that it was definitely odd to like take an extra step almost to run your spots. But it also means you get tired a lot quicker because you're running. Because a lot of my shine and a lot of my moves are based off me running a lot, and you're running just that little bit further, and it sort of tires you out a lot quicker. But I think it's harder to go from a 16-foot down, because I think the Frog and Bucket Comedy Club used to have a 14-foot ring, and that was tricky at times, because it's different to have the space that you can work in opened up, but when you shrink it down just a little bit, it does limit you a little bit, but not enough to have sick matches, which is cool.
Now we've talked about we've talked about the past, we've talked about the future. Let's talk about a little bit about the present. Who do you see right now as the top independent UK stars?
Gosh, there's so many. I feel like I kind of feel like a new fan coming into wrestling, where I stopped watching wrestling for like a long time, but now coming back into it, I feel like I'm rediscovering. It feels like a new world almost. But obviously you've got Ospreay, who's leading the way as the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and also bringing with him the United Empire, who, great talent all round. And then you've got obviously your destination everywhere is Michael Oku, Rev Pro Cruiserweight Champion, doing great things. Gosh, there's just so many. Well, Ospreay again in Rev Pro. Cara Noir leading the way in Progress. That's just, I think it's hard to pick one, top star. But I think it's great because you have so many British wrestlers who are reliable, and I think it's important to have a more reliable roster than it is to just have your main people. But you have people like Ridgeway who are putting on classics no matter who they're wrestling. You've got the Young Guns, who are a phenomenal tag team. You've got your Callum Newmans, who are making their way up the card slowly and slowly. You've got Danny Black, who has gone from a young upstart and is now again progressing up the card. Just everyone seems so much more reliable to like put on a good match. I feel like back in my day, there'd be tweets from shows, and it'd always focus on like one or two matches, and it'd be like, oh, this match was really good and this match was really good. But now I feel like you're hearing about the whole card is people saying, well, this match was good, and the match after that was good, and the match after that was good. The whole show was great, which is great, which is so good, because it just puts so much more attention on that one person. It feels like every match is a main event, and it's just great to see. And it makes the show, when you watch it back, just makes it unskippable. It's like having a really good album, like American Idiot. You just don't want to skip any of the songs. It's great.
What are some of your future goals with this? Are you looking to maybe enter the Rev Pro Contenders division? Have you thought about going over to WXW? I
Yeah,
think you'll
I
do
mean,
so well in there.
we did. I think I did 2 shows for Progress in Germany that were kind of linked with WXW, but I loved the atmosphere there. I forget where they were. I think it was Frankfurt and Oberhausen, but great atmospheres, great fans, and I'd love to do more in Germany. Rev Pro is one that, I feel like I've wrestled for quite a lot of promotions, and quite a lot of top promotions. But I feel like Rev Pro is always one that sort of eluded me for the longest time. But it's definitely something that I'd love to, be a part of, because they book some of the best talent in the world. So yeah, obviously I'd absolutely love to be a part of Rev Pro in any capacity.
Obviously, we've got the NXT UK Heritage matches now. So, I mean, is that something you would love to get involved in?
Definitely. As I said earlier, it's nice to have, that sort of callback to the old British style of wrestling. And what better platform to put it on than NXT UK? It's sort of introducing a wider wrestling audience to how things used to be, and it's a great way of calling back and making it feel important.
Yeah, well, I've really enjoyed the NXT UK Heritage division. I don't think
absolutely
so many great matches, so many young, great guys again.
Yeah, it feels like as well. It's like what me and Nino were trying to do at Rumble Wrestling, which was sort of blend the 2 styles, where you'll get your technical wrestling, but you also get a scoop of the modern style as well, which is hard to do, but when done right is great.
Now, a good friend of ours, UKPW, Alex, when we spoke to him, he listed you down as one of the ones to watch, and he's 100% right on that. You were the Inter-regional champion. What was it like working with UKPW?
Fantastic. I don't have a bad word to say about UKPW. They were, in a way, the first, outside promotion of IPW that gave me an opportunity and gave me regular bookings, and gave me my first championship, the Inter-regional championship. Yeah, they've always been super, super cool to me, and being able to go back to wrestle for them the other week was great. Seeing how far that they've come since I was going to their shows as a fan in Falconwood to now being a champion, being a regular, and then seeing how many more people they're getting, involved and attending the shows, and it's just great. I feel like a proud dad seeing the promotion that I sort of, worked with for so long, taking leaps and bounds and just getting so much better by every show. Like, Alex is great. I feel like he has a great mind, especially for like presentation of wrestling and like the ideas of wrestling and making everything more entertaining. Like UKPW again was one of those shows where every match had someone talking about it, especially the main event, which I was in. just feels like every match sort of had people saying good things about it, and that's exactly what, if I was running a show, is something that I would want to hear, is people coming back and saying, well, every match was great. Yeah, it's just Alex and Jack and Martin, just everyone there is so positive, and they know what they want to do with UKPW, and they're doing it. It's great to see.
And of course, Danny Black and Josh Jolando recently tore the house down at one of their shows.
They ruddy well did.
And
I'm pretty sure that was
Falconwood
as well.
I think they are straight out of Falconwood on November the 21st, maybe.
7th, maybe.
Might have been, might be 27th actually.
Maybe 27th. I don't know the date.
We're sorry we're getting it wrong, UKPW. Yeah, straight out of Falconwood. It looks absolutely fantastic. Alexander Roth is taking on Dow Jones as he looks for his revenge finally. And you got the UKPW Women's Championship final.
That'd be great.
Even Madden versus Kyra Kamara. I bet that's going to be a great match. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw both women's matches from the last show, and if those are anything to go by, then this final is going to be ruckus.
Right.
What future shows are you going to be on? Oh, sorry. Do you want to?
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Well, I don't think I've actually been announced for any of the shows, but I have one on the 20th of November, and I won't say where I am because I don't think it's been announced. But that match, when it gets announced, keep eyes on it because it is going to be flipping great. And if you like, all I'm going to say is if you like the match at Wrestle Carnival, you're going to like this match, undoubtedly. May also have something coming up on the 25th of November, and then I'll have the Christmas tour for Rumble Wrestling, which is the 27th to the 29th, I think. But I'll hopefully be on those tours, which I look forward to massively.
Excellent. And have you got much planned for next year so far?
I've got a couple of bits in the works. Hopefully some big things with some good people. But
yeah.
I'm excited about this 20th of November one. This is
Well, just keep your eyes peeled.
I'm trying to work out who's got a show and who might be
and where it's going to be. Oh, well.
I'll keep an eye out, and I'm sure we'll be announcing it on our show once it is announced. Of course, on the Brit Wres Roundup, which we do on a weekly, we love to go through the entire UK scene and see who's doing what.
Hell yeah,
indeed. Right, Andy, do you have any final questions?
No, I think we've dragged as much as we can out of Mr. Mayhew. We've put him on the spot a couple of times.
Yeah.
I've got one final question.
Go on,
let's hear it.
Merch, do you have any, and where can we get it if you do?
I do. I have an On The Gear page. Thanks to the guys at On The Gear. I think it's onthegear.com, maybe .co.uk, but / Maverick Mayhew. But there's also a list of lots of fantastic wrestlers that also have merch on there. Just on The Gear. That's the best place to get it.
On The Gear.
Excellent.
I'll let the missus know Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
With that said, we've been Teen and Ties, the Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling. And as we always say, don't feed the trolls.